Euro-nymphing is a style that works really well in good light conditions. But when the shadows start to lengthen on the pools and the sun goes down, it can get very difficult to see the sighter properly. So one way that I like to keep fishing in those conditions is to tie on a small dropper with a dry fly, which both suspends the nymph and acts as an indicator. If there's a little bit of an evening rise happening, it's common to pick up fish on either the dry or the nymph. As I often find with evening rise fish, these are not big trout, but they're still great fun to catch. I really enjoy it.
There we are, guys, nice little brownie. We took the nymph under the dry. So that just took the nymph. It's like a 3mm caddis pattern under the dry fly. I'm using the dry fly on the dropper. It's like a really buoyant caddis pattern to suspend the nymph. Because it's fairly shallow out there and it's getting a bit dark to see the sighter. So that worked alright. Let's keep going.
Fishing a dry dropper rig on a conventional line will be familiar to most fly anglers, but fishing it on a Euro rig is slightly different. For a start, you don't have the weight of a fly line to cast, so you're still casting the weight of the nymph only, using a nymphing style oval cast. It's a fairly short range technique. You can typically cast out to perhaps 30 feet or so.
Alright, I've got one more run to try and fish before it gets too dark, so let's get up there now.
One big advantage that this system has is the lack of drag from a fly line on the surface of the river, as you're able to suspend most, if not all, of the leader system above the water, all the way to the dry fly. This has the benefit of providing a very good drift for the flies, as it's only the dry fly and the nymph influencing each other. There's no need for mending, and when you do get a take, you have a fairly straight line to the flies without the need to pick up a lot of slack. This fish was sitting in the softer flow, just at the side of the main current, but you'll notice that there's a lot of slack water in front of me that I was able to reach out over the top of with the long rod and the very fine leader. If I was trying to fish this spot with a conventional fly line, I'd be having to do a lot of downstream mending, because you can see there's an eddy in front of me where the water is flowing back upstream against the direction of the main current that I'm trying to fish. So being able to fish the fine leader and the long rod allows me to stand back a little bit. I don't have to wade out into the main current where the fish are and disturb the run. I'm also not disturbing the surface of the water much with the fly line constantly being mended, potentially over the top of fish. So this is actually a much stealthier way of fishing a dry dropper rig. This fish was sitting a little further out in the middle of the main run, and again, I didn't have to contend with the different current speeds of the soft seam on the inside working against the faster current in the middle of the river. I was able to just keep a straight line to the dry fly. Now don't get me wrong, I still love fishing a traditional fly line with a dry fly or a dry dropper. In some situations, especially if you need to reach out over a little more range, it's the best option. But I often find myself on days where I've been Euro-nymphing for most of the day. I've only got the one rod with me. I don't have the time or energy to re-rig a whole different fly line onto the system. And it's easy to just tie on a little dropper onto my tippet and fix a dry fly on there and keep fishing when I can't see the sighter anymore as the evening light fades. So give it a try. I think you'll find it's a fun and productive way to fish. It's a lovely way to be able to reach out over the top of currents without having to worry too much about mending or drag on the flies.
Alright guys, well that's just a little bit of fishing nymph under dry with the Euro rig. So yeah, I had the little 3mm bead with a caddis on the point, and just a very buoyant caddis on the dry fly dropper. And yeah, picked up a couple on the dry fly, a couple on the dropper. That was nice. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.